Okay, once you're done reading that over, on the back side is a graphic organizer. And what I love about, I'll give you a moment to go back to the reading. What I like about this graphic organizer, I like when I find graphic organizers that don't entail you going to the copy machine, right? So this one's real easy because you could just take any piece of paper. Students can take out their own line paper, fold it in thirds, you lay it out this way, and you're looking for first impressions, fast facts, and final thoughts. Has anyone used a process like this for reading when students do their initial skimming through? Okay. And I know that there's probably an Avid strategy closely related to this where we're going to jot down those very first impressions. So what you're going to do now is, from the work we just did, gather some first impressions from the reading. And so for first impressions, we go over, you've done your skimming and scanning, or maybe your kids are skimming and scamming, I don't know. Skimming and, that's my second language learner coming out, sorry. Skimming and scanning, and we would have done this right when I gave you the text, but I wanted us to engage in that process first. So you may have written down a few things there of the first impressions, the things we talked about. So kind of think back, go through, and write down what your first impressions would have been of the reading. What do I think this is about? Why am I reading this? Based on the text that I gave you. And if you want to use a different colored paper, your own paper, you can. This is going to be posted up on the My Big Campus. So first impressions, when you first got the packet and you were flipping through the reading, what were your first impressions about this reading? And for some of you, it may be, I've read this book, I could have written this book myself. And for some of you, it may be, I had no idea we needed to have content objectives. This is a wonderful revelation. Pardon?
This is just like the think marks I'm using.
Oh, okay.
Except it's not, except it's like a bookmark.
Oh,
And the
great.
kids have it as they read.
Okay. Oh, that's great. So Lisa uses a bookmark in her classroom. Do you want to tell us a little bit more how you do that?
Okay. It's called a think mark, and it's basically these three things, but it's more compressed, I guess, into the size of a bookmark. And so as the kids read, or before they read, they jot stuff down, and as they read, it's active reading, and they write while they read, so they're constantly engaged with what they read. It's a great learning tool, great learning strategy, because it keeps them engaged, as well as great for behavior too. They're constantly they're looking and searching and skimming and scanning, and it's great. So same thing.
That's great, and it keeps the active engagement going the whole time. Sometimes reading can seem like a very passive activity. I know in going through our Read 180 rooms, right, you notice this too, is how do we know they're really reading? They're flipping pages. Some of them are, and we tell them, okay, now you need to read this section. And if we have them actively engaged, as Lisa said, then we're ensuring that they are focusing on looking for the main ideas or whatever it is you wanted to guide them through. So here what we wanted to do is that first glance, it didn't take us very long. We flipped through it. What do you notice? What jumps out at you? They write it down. Then the second reading through of it, again, just text features. We're not doing any reading yet. I know that seems painful. You want to get to the reading. Then the next read is the fast facts. So go through that again as if you had done a second look through, which you did, where we really focused on like the 3 guiding questions that I gave you. That helps your students elicit those fast facts as well. So think back at those 3 guiding questions that I had posed, which I think are still up there. How are objectives presented to students? How can verbs be selected? And how can a language objective support a content objective? And you'll see as well that this strategy comes for variations for emergent English learners. And I know we have some very highly trained, skilled teachers that work with emergent English learners. And so, Linda, can you think of a different variation for our very beginning students when we expose them to text? I can give you a minute to think about that. I know Maria and Irene, you all really engage with very emergent English learners.
When we first present text features, perhaps a graphic organizer where they actually write down and list the names of the text features and a symbol that represents each text feature.
Excellent. So we could be doing the charting. We want the students kind of letting us know. But if language is new to them, they might not have the language for chart or titles or subtitles. They might say something like, I notice some of the words are bigger than others while their language is emerging in English. Or they may have language for this already in their primary language. You know, usamos títulos, subtítulos. And we can honor that in the classroom and then give it the English vocabulary word. Maria?
I was also thinking maybe just a brief definition of the word feature and just like maybe giving them example of features for maybe what's the feature of a cell phone, and then from there taking them into the book.
I love that. She's going right to the realia. What are some features of your cell phone? And so then, are you capturing everything? I'm sorry. Okay. So what are some features of the cell phone, and how do those, how does that word feature helps us know that it's some of the big things that pop out? Might be a word that an English learner uses. So we're unpacking that vocabulary because as much as possible you want to use the academic language of we're going to be looking at text features. That's language that's going to help them in all their classes, and if we stay consistent with this, it's going to move things along a lot easier for our students. All right, I don't want to belabor this task any longer. You have been so patient because I know that you could have done this in 2 minutes, grabbed the text, realized what it was all about, and moved forward. But as you know, when I can, I like to unpack the whole process so that you can then go into your classrooms and unpack the process as well for your students, step by step. Again, pay now or pay later. And so prepare your students with success. And for some of them, it may seem like, I can do all this already. Great. But some kids in class are going to need a little bit more support as they move along with it.